Welcome to Design Thinking Games, the podcast where game design meets player experience, and every game is a chance to support the community. Celebrate this 5th season of the Design Thinking Games podcast by not just talking about how games play, but diving into how they're made, how they're tested, and how communities keep them alive. All types of games are on the table, from tabletop to digital, solo journaling to massive multiplayer. Come explore all forms of gaming and the design thinking behind them with your host, Tim Broadwater. Find every episode, including this one, wherever you get your podcasts, or jump in at designthinkinggames.com. Now, roll up your sleeves, open the playtest notes, and celebrate the power of play.
I walk inside the Origins Game Fair exhibitor hall, and all the way to the far right is the smaller indie shops and game designers and studios. I see a couple individuals at a booth promoting a lot of TTRPGs, so I head up to them and ask them who they are.
I'm Josh. I am the founder of Colossus Games, and Colossus Games, the sort of goal of my publishing is to provide inspiring content for your games, whether that's for 5e or other systems. I've designed my own system, Wormlings, which is a fantastic adventure for all ages, and Andrew Surber is sort of a dark fantasy supplement for 5e, and then Tome of Intangible Treasures is sort of a more role-play character development oriented supplement for 5e.
I asked how big the studio was and how long it's been around.
Colossus Games has been around for 4 years, a little over 4 years. I founded it in January of 2021 to sort of work toward the release of my first supplement of Interesting About Beats. Colossus Games is run solely by me, but I work with a ton of fantastic freelancers to get everything done. My general motto is to make sure that everyone I work with gets paid before I do. And so almost all of the funding from my crowdfunding projects goes towards paying for freelancers, paying for production and manufacturing and all of that stuff.
I asked Josh what all he has available at Origins and if there's anything else coming out soon.
I have 3 sort of product lines here at Origins, Wormlings, Interesting Validities, and Tome of Intangible Treasures. I also have another system that's just digitally available online called Cybercore Hack. It's a Caltrop core system, which means it uses D4s, and that's a fun little hacking minigame. You can sort of splice it onto any existing cyberpunk game or just run it on its own. But really quick, fast-paced minigame that you can sort of get a fun hacking vibe out of. And then I have a second crowdfunding campaign a new crowdfunding campaign for Tome of Intangible Treasures 2 that just finished up. So that we'll be looking at that sometime next year for release. So I also offer bundles for Interesting Validities and Tome of Intangible Treasures products. So if you want to get the book for Tome of Intangible Treasures along with the reference cards for it.
I then asked how people could get in contact with Lone Colossus or find out more about their offerings and games.
I've always got new projects coming down the pipeline. I don't exactly know what the next one is yet, but you can sign up for my mailing list. You can find that link on my website, lonecolossusgames.com, and you'll hear the first time I have anything to say about that. I've got a Discord channel for people who have any questions about products or just want to chat about RPGs. I'm on Threads and Blue Sky at Lone Colossus Games on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram, and then Blue Sky, lonecolossusgames.bluesky.com.
Dark Heist is a game of supernatural heists and larceny in a haunted Victorian city. Recruit crooked monsters and monstrous crooks into your gang to do crimes and become the most notorious in the city. Dark Heist is a strategic deck-building game for 1 to 4 players full of evocative missions and plenty of player versus player backstabbing. Inspired by gothic horror, pulp crime novels, and the role-playing game Blades in the Dark, this mid-weight board game plays from 60 to 90 minutes and is rated M for mature. Find out more about Dark Heist at ashyfeet.com. Are you ready for the crime of your life?
time for a break at Origins, so I head over to one of the mini cafeteria areas outside the main exhibitor hall, and I see a man sitting there at a table, playtesting games with a couple individuals. I approach him and ask him who he is.
I am Andrew Looney, a game designer, and I'm here at the Origins Game Festival where we're playing games with people wandering by. Thousands of gamers are here. We're playing games all weekend. I'm with Looney Labs, is a game company my wife and I founded in 1999. So we published the Flux series, and there are 46 versions of Flux, with Mystery Flux having just come out. And we also have a whole bunch of other games. We make brainy board games that use these pyramids, my very favorite of which is called Homeworlds, an epic interstellar space battle game that if you can beat me at, I will give you a medal.
I'm curious, and I wonder if he's playtesting new games. So I ask Andrew, what is he doing and what games he's playtesting?
Yeah, I've got several options available to playtest right now. I've got Dog Flux, which is the new one I'm developing, so we're playtesting that. I've got my Pyramids for Homeworlds or Zendo or various other games. And then I've got another game, a completely new thing down here on the end. It's kind of secret, but I'm playtesting that as well.
I have played Flux before, especially the Monster Flux and the Monty Python Flux, so I asked Andrew which is the most popular of all the Flux games.
You mentioned Monty Python. Monty Python Flux is definitely one of our longtime bestsellers. People really love it. But the original basic Flux, the plain Flux, actually still is our bestseller. Even though in any given time a new one might come along and steal the crown for a quarter or a little while, but then it always goes back to the original Flux being the hit.
I wanted to know about the vibe of Looney Labs and what the feel is of all the types of games they create.
So Looney Labs makes easy, fun family board games and card games that are simple to jump into. They're often called like gateway games or starter games because they have a very broad appeal. Flux is a card game of change that everybody loves. It's our biggest hit, and it's very easy because it starts out very simple. So there's not a lot of rules you got to learn, and it's the perfect game to play at the beginning of a game night when you're just kind of starting up, or at the end of a game night when you're winding down. A lot of other companies make these big, heavy board games that take 3 hours or something, and we're not about that. We're about light, easy games you can carry in your pocket and pull out and play at the restaurant while you're waiting for your food.
I asked Andrew from Looney Labs to tell me what he could say about anything upcoming or launching soon.
Our next release we'll be having coming out in September is Cat Flux. Everybody loves cats, and we're following that up in the fall. Next year, that's coming out this fall, and then next year we're following that up with Dog Flux because people love dogs too, and the two can live together because cats and dogs often do get along.
I didn't know that you could mix multiple Flux games together, so I asked about that and the best way to find out more information about Looney Labs.
Yeah, you can mix them up. You can mix them together. All the Fluxes have the same card back, so you can mix and match favorite cards from one deck to another. Some of them don't combine as well as others, but dogs and cats should combine very nicely. LooneyLabs.com. I mean, we're all over the various social medias. Any search for Looney Labs and you'll find us. But our website, LooneyLabs.com, is the best place to go to for info about our company.
Thirst is a 2 to 4 player vampire versus vampire game of Dominion in which players become powerful, monstrous, and bloodthirsty vampires. Rise from the graveyard hungry to find that you are not the only creature of darkness in town. Fight other vampires for dominion over neighborhoods and for influence. Hunt, but hunt wisely. The first vampire to accrue an influence score of 10 wins and can finally slake their thirst. Thirst is on Kickstarter. Sign up to get notified of its launch at thirstboardgame.com. Find Thirst and other things we're working on at designthinkinggames.com.
As I walk through the Columbus Convention Center, north towards the escalators, I see a man dressed in fantasy garb, and I approach him under the sign True Dungeon and ask him about what it is.
I'm Andrew. I'm at Origins 2025 here with True Dungeon. I'm a volunteer for True Dungeon and I do a lot of NPC acting with them in person. And I also do some epilogue for their virtual events. So, True Dungeon is an interactive dungeon crawl experience. It is a live action dungeon brought to life in front of you with interactive puzzles, NPCs that you can actually converse with, and monsters that you can fight. We do combat through a shuffleboard system, similar to how you would see people play actual shuffleboard. There's a butcher's diagram of the monster with different to hit numbers for each of the sections. That 20 corresponds to a nat 20 on a die roll.
I then asked Andrew how long he's been working with True Dungeon and how big the group is.
So I'm a volunteer with True Dungeon. I've been doing things with them since 2019 Origins, I felt like I belonged. They sort of welcomed me with open arms and brought me in as part of the family, and it's been a blast ever since. It depends. It fluctuates based on convention. Sometimes with Origins, it's a smaller crew. We only have one full-size dungeon here at Origins this year. Last year, it was a 4-room. So there were fewer volunteers needed for Origins last year than there were this year. When we do a full-size event at Gen Con, it can be several hundred volunteers that work together to put that dungeon together and make those experiences happen. We have 2 shifts at Gen Con, morning and evening shift. And so getting all of that staffed can be a nightmare, I'm sure.
I wanted to know more about what the experience was like for True Dungeon at Gen Con versus Origins.
So multiple events happen at Gen Con. I think this year we're planning to do 3 separate dungeons, maybe other events as well. I'm not 100% sure what's on the schedule. I just know what I have. So the dungeon here at Origins will also be seen at Gen Con, as well as 2 other dungeons in the same event series. So all of them will have a through line story that sort of helps to flesh out the world of Runeheim, which is our Viking themed world.
I wanted to know more about the people that are attracted to True Dungeon and keep coming back to play.
I think part of it is the immersive sets and costumes that the NPCs wear. It really brings the story to life in a way that lets you participate at your level. If you're the type of player that wants to have full conversations with NPCs in character, that opportunity is available to you. And if you're more the one that wants to tinker with the puzzle, you can do that too. If you just want to slash and dash the monster, there's an opportunity for that as well. And so it's a really well-rounded experience that appeals to different things for different people.
I found it interesting how many years True Dungeon has been around and how the organized play works from convention to convention.
We are still celebrating our 20th anniversary, big accomplishment. I think we are on year 22 at this point. So every year there's a different theme of tokens that we release. And then from there, all of the adventures sort of fall into place in that world where those tokens exist. So players can use the same tokens that they get at Origins, at Gen Con. They can use the same tokens that they get at Gen Con, next year's Gen Con, the Gen Con after that, the Gen Con after that, as long as the event allows for it. Occasionally, we'll do a shorter 4-room event where it's a sealed pack run, and those events would have you just use what you get in your 10-pack at the start. If you don't have any tokens to your name and you want to play True Dungeon, you can also buy a ticket and get everything that you need to play to start. All of that is included in your ticket price. You'll get a starter pack of tokens that has everything you would need. And I think that for those people that maybe are uncertain of how they can exist inside the world of True Dungeon, whatever our theme is for that year, give it a chance. Come in and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just be here to play the game. And if I interact in character, I do. And if I don't, that's okay too. Because we'll meet you where you come. And we're not going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. It's giving you the option. If you're a bard, do you want to sing? Do you want to dance? If you're a druid and you want to talk to an animal, talk to an animal. See if they can help you. But we're not going to make you do those things.
So now that I know people can roleplay to their level of comfort, I was curious to learn more about bards that sing the whole time.
Some of our bards will sing for the entire adventure, much to the NPC's chagrin, if it's one of those, baby shark or something like that. But sometimes the NPCs will have a sing-along with the bard, and they'll, we will rock you, and they'll get into it too.
This area seems pretty active, and there's even a demo table set up to show people how combat works in True Dungeon.
So we have a demo table set up to show people what combat is like, to get people interested in True Dungeon, to get them understanding how they're going to interact with the world. Because some people come at this thinking it is a LARP, thinking that they'll bring in foam swords or whatever. And we're like, no, you're completely safe. Nobody's going to hit you. We actually have a rule against volunteers touching players and players touching volunteers. So no physical contact is going to be allowed at all between players and volunteers.
This looks really cool. I'm actually thinking about volunteering, and I kind of wanted to know how people get involved or where they find out how to attend a True Dungeon event.
We went to MomoCon, we've been to DreamHack, we've been to PAX West, we've also been to the late PAX South, a moment of silence for PAX South. But we are still in San Antonio at San Japan, the anime convention there. So TrueDungeon.com is a great place to find out basically anything you need to about True Dungeon. There are links from there to all of the other places that we have our information. So we have our ticketing site, td.events, where you can get tickets for our in-person events, except for Gen Con, because we use Gen Con's ticketing system. And then our virtual events are also available at td.events. And then our volunteering link is also available on TrueDungeon.com, TD Vols, and that will get you the ability to join our crew and help out during events, earn swag, and maybe get a little bit of pay. Gen Con is a truly ambitious show, 3 to 4 events every year with 2 shifts, day and night. We tend to need a lot of people, so it's always good to have fresh faces come in and really own it and take it and make it their own.
Thank you for listening to Design Thinking Games. Your time is valuable, and it means a lot that you spent it here in Season 5. Stay connected on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. DMs are always open. And don't forget to visit designthinkinggames.com to request topics, ask questions, or see what else is going on. If indie vampire board games sound like your thing, check out Thirst, where vampires and minions fight for influence in a dark city. Head to thirstboardgame.com to follow the journey and get updates when it launches on Kickstarter October 1st. Until next time, game on!